guys here. It's Monty with Angry Gnome Adventures. We just bought a new house and moved out of that apartment. This is going to be the future Angry Gnome garage. And you know how we work on bikes and we change our oil all the time and spill oil everywhere. Well, we don't want that oil to soak into the new concrete. So I decided before I move anything into this garage that I would epoxy the floor. That way it's very protected and durable. So first off, we emptied everything that was in the garage. It wasn't much, it was just stuff that we moved in first. And then I pressure washed the surface. Actually, I swept the surface first, then I pressure washed it. And now I'm going to add this cleaner and degreaser. I have it in a spray can, and I'm going to spray it all over the floor. And then I'm going to scrub it with this brush. We are going to apply the Rustoleum Professional Epoxy. I have 2 cans of it. It says it covers 400 to 500 square feet of garage surface. I'm not sure how accurate that is, so I bought 2. We have about 680 square feet to cover. First things first, let's get to degreasing and cleaning the floor.
I know you've never been this high before. And the stars, and the moons, and the constellations. Let's leave this world and take a trip. Don't let anybody say you're wrong for taking a lift. Come fly with me. Let's all just drift away. Come fly with me.
Alright, so we're done degreasing the garage. We're letting it dry a little bit of water got in the drywall in the garage. It didn't soak in too much, so I put the fan on and I put the heater on. Let's put the big space heater on, and I'm hoping that the drywall dries out. The professional kit from Rustoleum doesn't come with the etching, the acid etching product, so I have to go to Home Depot and buy that. I couldn't find the professional kit anywhere else except for on Amazon. You can't find it at Home Depot, you can't find it at Lowe's, you can't find it at Meeks, so I ordered it on Amazon, it came, and it doesn't have the etching product, so we're gonna go buy the etching product, run some other errands, and when we get back later on tonight, I'm gonna go ahead and spray the etching product on the floor. So I'll brush it in with a brush and let it sit and for a couple minutes, whatever the directions say, and then spray it off. And wait a couple days, turn on the fan. I'll make sure it's super completely dried out in here. And I'm also going to borrow Ed's blower. And right before we paint it, I'm going to blow all the just little loose stuff off if there is any, because I really want this stuff to stick. And I really want it to last a long time, so I'll catch back up with you when we get the etching product and we start the etching.
See from the storm, galaxies around us stay. We're on that coaster now. Oh, it's such a feeling, letting go somehow. Simultaneous beings, we're light miles from where we used to be. Feeling supernatural. Light from the quasars leads us to a next destination. Eyes closed as we drift off in meditation. We're way out past intergalactic. I don't think we're coming back. Come fly with me. Can't look back. Let's all just drift away. Galaxies around us stay. We must
All right, so we finished etching the floor. I want to remind you that the Rustoleum professional grade doesn't come with the etching solution in the box. The regular grade does, the one you can get at Home Depot, but the professional grade that I got off of Amazon, I'll put a link in the description to the product that I bought. Doesn't come with the etching solution, so we had to go out and buy a gallon of this, and the gallon did 680 square feet. It says it does 500 square feet, but it did our whole garage. But our garage was already really clean and really roughed up. So what we did is we put it in the spray bottle, and it works better if you apply it to a dry floor. It seems to get up more stuff. So we applied it to a dry floor, and then kept it wet the whole time while we brushed it in with the stiff bristle brush, and you could see it, you know, fizzling here and there. And then at the end, we just pressure washed the whole thing out, and now we're just gonna let it dry for 2 days. It's currently December 30th, and I go to work tomorrow, and then on Tuesday I'm off. So on Tuesday we're gonna apply the actual Rustoleum epoxy, and we're gonna put some heaters on in the garage and let it warm up to above 50 degrees. And right now we're actually gonna put fans and heaters in, so that way it gets really dry in here. That way the dry walls get real dry, and we don't have any mold issues. So I'll cut to us putting the stuff in the garage. All right, so it's New Year's Day, and we let the floor dry for 2 days, and set the heaters on in the garage for 2 days, and the fan was on. The floor looks pretty dry, so we're gonna go ahead and apply the coatings. I'm not sure what the inside temperature is, but the outside is about 55 degrees, so it's a little bit below what they recommend, but we've had the heaters blasting all day. We're gonna go ahead and mix the Part A and Part B solution right here in the 5-gallon pail. And it says to let it sit for 60 minutes between 60 and 70 degrees. It's a little bit below 60 right now, so I'm gonna let it sit for about an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half, and then we'll come out and we'll start applying it, and then let it dry a little bit, and then apply the second batch of epoxy. So we'll go ahead and mix the epoxy right now.
Come fly with me. I just drift away. Come fly with me. Safe from the storm, galaxies around will stay.
All right, so we just finished up epoxying the floor, and we're having some beers, and Joey's cleaning up over there. I'm cleaning up too. We did it barefoot because pretty much if you get any of this epoxy on your socks or on your shoes, it's over. So we did it barefoot, and it actually cleans up off your skin pretty easily. So I recommend doing it barefoot. So as you can see, the whole garage is done. Two of the professional kits did 680 square feet with a little bit left over. Towards the end there, I just started pouring the epoxy on the floor, and then just, using the roller to spread it out. But in the beginning, I didn't even use a tray for the roller. I just dipped the roller in the 5-gallon bucket, and then started in the very back corner over there, and started just spreading it around. I would do a little section at a time, then sprinkle some chips. But then as it went on, I started doing bigger sections at a time and sprinkling more chips, at longer intervals. Don't take the chips and with a handful of chips and throw it on the ground, or even throw it slightly in the air, because they'll all fall and they'll make a big pile. I messed up right back there. I threw a big pile of chips and they landed in a big pile, and I had to blow them around, and then I had to epoxy over it again, and then throw the chips again. The secret to throwing the chips is grabbing a medium to small handful, and then throwing it straight up in the air till it hits the ceiling, and letting it just float down. And then if you want to fill in the little tiny gaps without chips, take a little bit of chips in your hand and throw it sparingly up into the air over where you need to cover. I went heavy on the chips because each kit came with 2 bags. I mixed them all together in a 2-gallon bucket, and I still have chips left over, and I went really heavy on the garage. So what Joey did is he got the brush and went along the edges and kind of cut in the edges, and also painted in the cracks in between the expansion joints in the garage. And then I came through with the roller and rolled over everything. Just make sure you get a really thick coat, otherwise it'll probably come up. So towards the end, especially on this bay right here, it's where Lindsay's gonna park her car, and I wanted it really thick, so I started just pouring it out of the bucket and then spreading it around with the roller, and then kind of evening it out by rolling it. Tomorrow night when I get home from work, I bought some the clear coats that go on top of it with the anti-skid, and I'm gonna let it dry for about 30 hours, and then when I get home tomorrow night, I'm gonna put that top clear coat on it, and then let it dry for another 24 hours. Here's a close-up look of the finished epoxy with the paint chips on it and the edge of the garage. I didn't do it over the lip, I just did it to the lip because I didn't prep past that lip right there, so I figure that's it. But that's the evenness of the paint chips that I used, and that's what it looks like while it's curing. Alright, so the floor is all dry and it's curing pretty good. It's a little tacky on the feet because it was really cold last night. Got it on 27 degrees. I tried to keep it warm in here, but can't keep a garage really that warm. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix the clear coat and with the anti-skid additive, and spread it all over the floor and roll it in. And that you don't need to let cure before you apply. You just mix it, throw it on the floor, and let it dry. And I'll let that cure for another 24 hours, and I'll start moving stuff in. So I'm going to cut to a video of me mixing it together, and then on the time lapse applying it.
Listen out there, everybody. Having a good time. Turn the volume up. We're gonna have the best time right now. Burn one punch for you. Here we go. Yes, they gonna roll on up, say just about one down. So pass it around, yeah. It's gonna know, let them not hit the ground. Yes, we gon' roll on up, say just about one down. So pass it around, yeah. It's gonna know, let them not hit the ground. Yes, it's a wonderful party, so late, so angry, so that might be my first mistake. Yes, my friends are not past it.
Alright guys, so it's about 5 months after I laid the epoxy originally, and I want to close out this video. I haven't had a chance to edit the video, but I want to close out this video with one last word about the epoxy. It came up, wherever my wife parked after it, didn't have her park on it for about 3 or 4 weeks, but where she parked, the epoxy came up. So I don't know if it's because she turns her tires cold, or if she drives longer distance than I do and she comes in and she has hot tires and it lifts up the epoxy, but for whatever reason where she parks it lifted up. So I contacted Rustoleum and I talked to them about it, and they said they can either refund me one of the kits or send me an extra kit out for free. I asked for a refund. They refunded me half of the cost of the epoxy, so I'm happy with it. No more of it has come up. What I think the problem was is that I laid it when the ground was too cold in the wintertime. It was about 50 degrees outside, and I recommend waiting until it's about 70 or 80 degrees, but that's the only time I can really do it. And that's what I had to do. But I do want to say that the floor is turning out really nice. Excuse the mess because we're just putting in cabins and stuff, but when I'm working on my bike and I spill some oil or spill gas, it wipes right up and doesn't soak into the concrete. Super easy to clean. I recommend it, and I hope you enjoy the video.